Alright, you bastards, this is Some-Belgian-prepper, and today I want to talk about the importance of hair protection. And I'm not really talking about during a disaster, because I already made a video about it, check it out if you want, but about pre-disaster hearing protection. Because yesterday I was out with friends for someone's birthday, and yeah, before we left, I put my earbuds in and yeah, um, I thought this was a good song that my mate would like to hear. So I gave it to him. He put it in his ear, and he was like, I don't hear it, and I don't hear it anything. Wait, can it put a little bit louder?" But I was listening at the exact the same volume, and the thing was, for me, it was at the it's about halfway the volume, but for me it was like I could hear everything just fine. It was even a little bit more than I would like because I was going to ride on a bicycle and there's a little bit wind, so I put it a little bit louder. But the problem was, to my amazement, that he at the same volume didn't hear anything, and that's when it struck me because we are both in the same line of work, and yeah, he's sometimes a little bit nonchalant about hearing protection, and that means that whatever I'm hearing just really good, he's barely hearing. So that made me want to make this video about the importance to protect your hearing just in EDC style before a disaster strike. So, what are the most? Oh, before we start going further about the topic, if you're interested in detective stories, there will be a link in the description to my book called Bloody Crosses and Part 2, The Jason Murders. So it's in Dutch. If you're interested, take a look, I would say. All right. So the first thing is what are the usually daily sources of noise that could damage your hearing. Um, for example, your task at home, whether you're doing some maintenance, construction at home, repairing something like a loud kitchen apparatus, drilling with something, using a jackhammer or a saw. Always use some ear protection. We are going to talk about different types of ear protection you could use in your EDC and daily life and some hacks that you can do. But first, we got to see where do the noises come from. So task is at home. Uh, Another thing that I see a lot of people overdo with sound during their daily life is car music and exhaust from their cars. So I see a lot of people, you know the types who are driving down the road and they're like and you hear it like a mile away. And the same thing goes for the exhaust. They pimped out the car and you can hear them from especially at my house. I can hear them from 3 kilometers away, and it's very loud if you stand next to it. Uh, and it could also be loud, especially with the music when they use one of those basses that they could damage their hearing. So I've been in cars a lot with people who do this kind of stuff, and always ask, could it be a little bit lower? And the same it's always the same reaction. Oh, it's not that loud. That's the same reaction, and there are several reasons why they do this. First of all, their hearing has been diminished, and the second thing is, it's kind of a, when you eat spicy peppers, that's like the kick of the pain. The same thing goes with the ears. It's like a little bit of sadomasochism that they're like, but with more long-term damage. Another thing, shooting range, of course. At the shooting range, always have some hearing protections. That's just a no. Even if you have a silencer, many people would think I have a silencer on my gun, I don't need hear protection. Yes, you do. Silencer is still like, I think, 19 to 110 decibels, so you still need hearing protection even if you use a silencer or a suppressor. So another thing that I noticed at certain gun ranges is like when they're done shooting, they take their their hearing protection off, and they see, oh, there's still one in the chamber. There's still one in the chamber. Oh, I will shoot this one on, and then I can put it in my bag. But yeah, that one bullet could damage your hearing for a long term and getting some tinnitus. So even when you think, oh, it's just one shot, it can still damage your hearing. So please, for the love of God, take off your hearing protection when you get away from the gun range, so to say. And another thing is, if you walk away from the gun range, there are still some chaps who are shooting. So if you walk by, still hear damage to your ears. Another thing I would say is work. This is one of the biggest one, because in my line of work, I work with heavy and loud machinery. So yeah, and I'm at my job. I'm always getting through the medical checks every year with perfect hearing, and the reason why is I always carry my ear protection. I never, whenever I take my ear protection off, I always put it like this at my work when I'm not doing something. Instead of some people do, they think, oh, I will take it off, put it here. Oh, I forgot something. They go away and they forget their ear protection and they think, oh, I will not go back to for my ear protection. It's just one thing to solve. Damage. So yeah, always carry your ear protection, whether it's one of those headphones that you can carry or one of those plugs. Uh, and if you take them off, don't lay them on the table. Put them in a pocket or a special pocket that you will have. So at work is one of the biggest ones. Um, wait, where was I? Oh yeah, another thing, and this is also typical when you go to a concert, a bar, a party where they play really loud music. And yeah, there are laws that will prevent from going above a certain decibel, but still, I would say just always carry in your EDC some hearing protections. You can either get one of those foamy ones, one of those foamy ones that you have to squeeze a little bit, put in your ear, and they will get a little bit bigger, or one of those rubber ones that will plug in. They will not be the most best protection, especially if the boxes or the music are or the speakers are really close to you, but it's better than nothing, and it's something that you will always be able to carry in your pocket, so to say, or in your EDC. These things have saved me from a lot of surprise music events, whether it's in, like I said, in bars. We went to a open air concert and it was still really loud, so I was glad that I have at one of these. Or during a party, usually when you go to certain parties or concerts, they will give free earplugs to at the entrance, but it has happened a few times that they were all already running out of them. So I was glad that I had for myself, and I always carry a few extra for my friends that were with me. So always carry one of those small ear protections. They don't cost much, they don't take much space, but it's very important during such things if you're going out. Another thing is animals. If you work with certain animals, you know they can be loud, especially if you're going to train them or something, or do certain things that they will be notice to make more sounds. For example, if you work with dogs, yeah, barking, certain dogs can bark really loud, and it's not only about loud barking, but perhaps constant barking. If you work with birds, if you have one of those vogeliers, like those real big bird cages where you can walk in, yeah, if you have certain type of bird, they can be really loud, even if it's like a parrot or a, I don't know what the English name is, like a vink. It's one of the small singing birds, and if you get a lot of them, they can be very loud if you clean out the cages. So yeah, and especially if you're there in there for a long time. Uh, if you work with deer or cows, they can howl very loud. Yeah, you can hear it from very far away, and if you stand next to them. Another thing, donkeys. We all know the sound that donkeys make, and they are pretty loud if you stand next to one of those. If they do that, a horse could make a sound, but yeah, it's not that loud, perhaps, but perhaps for certain people. So those are the EDC sources of noise that could damage your hearing. But there are three types of noise that could damage your hearing. The first one is a low sound but constant, and this could be applying at work related damaging, so to say. For example, if you work all day like me with heavy machinery, you for 8 hours, even if you wear ear protection, you will constantly have noise, and that noise could not it will be minimal damage to your hearing if you do this 8 hours a day, 5 times a week, for years and years on. Could be a little bit damage, but the more damage from this type of noise is stress. If you are all day long going in a in low sound but constant sound, you could get psychological damage from it, stress, that kind of stuff. So be aware, take certain breaks. Some go sometimes. There was I once read about a paper factory in Canada where the workers were uh, they needed to get into a soundproof cabin like uh, every so much hours so they could decompress a little bit and get their stress lower so they can get back to the heavy machinery. So that's one of those things. If you're at certain work jobs, just go outside, just have a little bit peace of quiet for a few times, and that can help immediate a little bit. The second type of noise is, and I would say this is the really dangerous ones, the medium short terms repeat. These are dangerous not because they are the most damaging, but because they are damaging on certain levels. The stress levels and psychological stress that I've talked about, and also more damaging. Even if you wear ear protections, the problem is these are the kind of sounds that you think, oh, it's not too loud. I can take this off for a few minutes while I'm doing something or talking to someone, and then you get that damage in because it's not loud enough to say, "Oh, I will keep it on," and it's not low enough to always keep it off. So it's always switching, and those are the damages that are really dangerous, and that is the type of damage that my mates probably have suffered because yeah, you think, "Oh, it's only for one thing. I will, I will. It's not worth it to yeah." But in long term, it is dangerous for your hearing and psychological health and stress. And the third one is the loud ones and short ones. We're talking about like on the gun range when you have an accidentally discharge, a person next to you already shooting before you got your ear protection on, or you that kind of stuff, or you, for example, you work with explosives. Yeah, the certain the very loud ones and are very short, and these are the ones that could make your ears ring for a little bit. Military personnel uh, will stand for this for what I'm saying. So yeah, these are perhaps the most damaging, but these are less common for most people. These are could be like accidents, explosions, that kind of stuff. So yeah, could happen, but yeah, I would say the medium short terms repeats of class 2 are the most dangerous ones because they don't have a certain, you cannot foresee them, but you can also be forgetful about it. So yeah, that's what I'm just talking about. All right, so what can we so why is it important to do this, that we have better hearing, whether we are 80 years old or younger? The first of all, for health. Second of all, for stress. Third one, I would say alertness to intruders or if somebody's crying for help. I once saw a person fall down on a bicycle it was, and yeah, I was going to help that person, but I saw certain people walking by like they even didn't had a care in the world, but after I get closer, I saw they had their earbuds in. So the person was crying, crying from pain, but those persons didn't hear it. So they just went straight through. So yeah, these things are good happening. So keep your hearing, especially if you have an intruder in your house that you can detect. What kind of sounds is this? Is this the typical sounds that one of my children or my wife makes in the middle of the night in the house, or is it more the of an intruder, somebody who does not want to be heard? So you can make distinguishes between those types of sounds. Hunting, of course. If you go hunting, uh, you want to hear the footsteps, the noises of the animals breathing, to hear if they are close by, that kind of stuff, flapping of wings. Those are all indicators and could be helpful during hunting. But yeah, then is a thing, one of those things that you say, oh, uh, you want to listen very well and you want to shoot directly, and you think you don't have time to put your ear protection in. So in that case, there are one of those headphones that have how do you say this, hearing protection that can go on with certain sounds. If it's about a certain decibel, there is a mechanism inside of these headphones that will close it off, like if you're on a shooting range. So these are helpful during hunting, but in the end, I would say it's better to have some ear protection ready, like one of those buds that you can hang around you, and you think I'm going to shoot, put them in, take aim, and shoot. So if you got visual contact with the game that you're shooting, so that's very important. Another thing is evasion. We all know in evasion you got the OODA loop, as they called it. OODA loop stands for observe, orient, decide, and act loop, actually. So it's like observe if you are trying to evade criminals, police, whatever, military, or dangerous animals. You stand still, observe, sound, smell, whatever it is around you, visual, orient. That's also you can also orient on in the woods on based on that. If you hear certain types of cars in the distance, perhaps running water, that kind of stuff, that could help you orient, and then you can decide and act. So for OODA loop in evasion, it is very, very important. Perhaps we should make a video about it. Um Another thing, if you are stranded somewhere or lost during hiking, camping, whatever it is, you want to hear certain sounds that might save your life. It's like I said before, if you're lost somewhere and you can hear in the distance sound of cars, people talking, running water if you're dehydrated, uh, sound of certain animals that could help you navigate, for example. So there's all things that could help you. Another thing is information. I'm guilty of this is perhaps a bad or perhaps a good habit, depending how you see it. If I go out with friends or something, and we're sitting at the table for to drink, I I I inherited this habit from my father, who was always sitting, and you saw that he was listening to something, and he was always trying to listening to what the people behind them or in the distance were talking about, because he's a curious bastard, just like I am. So yeah, that is perhaps handy in certain EDC situations, that you can get information. For example, it doesn't not have to be something uh malice or something. It can be like, oh, I heard there are road works at that lane, so we going to have to take another route when we're leaving here. Something innocent like that. Or you hear, oh, I heard that building is closed, so we cannot go there after we are done here. So those are the things that you can do. All right. So a few hacks that you can do, perhaps. Um, if you got one of those earplugs, you can perhaps, if you don't want to lose them, you can do something yourself and take a needle and shove uh, a thread through it towards uh, into two of these mushy plugs, and then you can hang them around you and put them back in. And yeah, they might break easily, but it's one of those things that if you don't want to take them out, put them in your pocket, and then especially if you do dirty work, what I sometimes do is they will get, especially if I've got a lot of earwax, they will get clogged with some dust, some wood particles, that kind of stuff, and you don't want to put them in your ear. So it's perhaps better that you can put it around your neck then. And there are certain plugs that already have this, so there are different types. So I would say try to order them through the internet or at a hardware store. They usually have them. If you have one of these, that's a little bit more tricky, because it is too thin to put a thread through it, and they need to get deep enough. So what you can do with these is, if you have an EDC pocket or something in your pocket, or a small plastic bag that you can and have put it in your regular pocket, open it up and zip it like a Ziploc bag, and that way you can take it off without what I talked about, having some particles that you don't want to put into your ear. Another thing that a lot of people do is, and it is perhaps one of those sources, one of those earbuds, or whether it's with a cord earbuds or one of those headphones with music. The problem is, especially if you're riding a bicycle, there could be going wind, and the wind could be louder than the music. And what do? You put it louder. Yeah, that's then I would say it's not worth it, because you will not hear the music and you will damage your ear if you have to put it really loud to get across the wind that is blowing if you're on a bicycle or something, or there's hard wind. So yeah, or what you can do is you take the earbuds or whatever you have, you take like a hat, not a hat, like one of those hats that you wear in the winter time, that you can pull over your ears, and that could help against mediate the wind resistance that will make more noise, so to say. So that's one of the things you can do. What I do at work, you can either buy one of those headphones with built-in speakers, so you can at work listening to music. But what I always do is I have one of those AirPods, and I can just put my regular headphones around them, and now I can listening very well on a low sound music without damaging my ears throughout the day. So that's a little bit handy. Oh, also depending what kind of have you, because sometimes will not work with certain headphones, because sometimes they are very wide and sometimes they are a little bit smaller or have an interesting shape that gets. So try to find the right headphone that is perhaps cheaper if you get a regular one, with some earbuds that you usually use during daily life. You can use them at work, and also if you it's forbidden at work to listen to music, you can put them right here. And if your boss says, "Are you listening to music?" you can take them off, and they will not really see it inside of it. So that's one of those hacks that you can do. But it's very important. Keep safe your hearing, and you will have a better life in general. So yeah, I hope this video was a little bit helpful. It's a little bit lengthy about this boring topic, but if you got any other tips, please let me know in the comments. I'm always eager to learn. Perhaps you know a trick from the as a policeman, military, about hearing protection that you would do. Leave it in the comments. Always eager to learn, and like, subscribe, all good stuff, and see you in the next video. Cheers.